In today's episode, we are going to be talking about vendor fairs and pop-ups and how I think it's a really fun way to get you out there in the community and meet people face to face. So if this is something you've maybe thought about doing or would like to know more about, stay tuned. We're going to jump right in. Welcome to the Cultivate Beauty podcast. I am your host, Kelly Torrance, and this is a show where we come together and have some honest conversations about what it's really like to work, grow, thrive, and survive in the beauty industry. My guests and topics are all people and things related to what's happening right now in our salons, behind the chair, in the treatment room, in our beauty schools, in our training facilities at a state board level and beyond. I'm going to be covering all scopes of beauty. So if you're ready to help me cultivate a fun-loving, passionate group of informed professionals, then please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So first off, what is a vendor fair? What is a pop-up? What is this that I'm even talking about? These are those really fun, like farmers markets, for example, right? They happen every Saturday evening in Old Town or downtown or wherever. And you've got all these little businesses and their booths all lined up, and you walk through, you get to meet people, you get to see the product, you get to get your hands on some stuff, you get to ask questions, and you get to put names to faces and make connections through little vendor events and pop-up events. So the reason why stuff like this works so well for our industry is because we are in our client's personal space for hours at a time, depending on what the service is. And yes, people can go online and look at your portfolio and see your headshot and kind of visually know who you are. But when they have the opportunity to come by your booth, they're already at this event, see you in person, get a feel for the vibe of your salon, and get to just see your actual personality in the public, it's a little different. It's a lot easier to connect to potential clients that way, and there's no pressure on the client to actually schedule something. I know a lot of people have anxiety to just pick up the phone and call a business to ask questions. Well, when they're out here with their friends and family, they're very relaxed. They're out just having a good time, maybe grab in some shaved ice from the food truck a couple booths over. There's no pressure there. It's a lot, just like I said, a more relaxed environment where people get the opportunity to get to know you and meet you. There are all kinds of events and pop-ups. Sometimes they're indoors, sometimes they're outdoors. Sometimes they are just one day for a few hours. Sometimes they're a couple of days for 6 to 8 hours a day. There's a huge scale of these types of events. I put together the Cultivate Beauty Conference last year in 2023, and we had probably 40 different booths, and they were all different educators who were there to talk to attendees about what it is they teach in the industry, what their courses are like. They were able to do little like hands-on demos, show off their products, and give people the opportunity to have that one-on-one interaction before giving their money and investing time and committing to a course. And it worked out really, really well. And that is what you're giving your potential clients the opportunity to do. I'm sure at some point you have been at a vendor fair. They're not all the same. Like I mentioned earlier, there are vendor fairs that are set up to be more like a farmer's market with locally grown produce. And then there's craft fairs, there's antique fairs, there's certain pop-up events that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense for your business to be there. Say an antique show, for example. People who are going to an antique fair aren't going there in the mindset of seeing a salon business, finding out about your massage services or your nail services. So it'd be really easy for people to just kind of glance at your booth and keep on moving. So that would be a type of event that probably wouldn't even need to consider, really. Types of vendor fairs that do make sense for our industry are going to be things like bridal shows and bridal fairs, special events, catering events, because people are already planning some type of event. They're there with the mindset of hiring for services, buying product. My favorite events to do were bridal shows. And this is because as a bride, you are shopping for everything. Not just your gown, not just flowers, not just for a caterer, not just for a baker, not just for a venue, but you are also planning for your hair and makeup. You're planning for spa services to help you relax and maybe pamper yourself before the big day. You could be shopping for somebody to help give you that spray tan before you go on your honeymoon. You might be looking for somebody to offer some permanent makeup services so that you don't have to worry about crying your eyeliner off. You are in that headspace and you make so many connections at these types of events because your services coincide with the other things that are going on. So let's say you're at a bridal event and your neighbor is a florist and a photographer. That right there gives you the opportunity to network with these other two businesses who are going to have the same clients and the same client base as yours. And they can all kind of just coincide together. So not only are these events a great way to help you get your name out there and get face-to-face with potential clients, but they are really, really great networking events. Even businesses that you wouldn't think would need your type of referral, something always comes up. A caterer. I remember having a bride who had everything nailed down, including hair and makeup beauty services. And their beauty provider fell through last minute. And it just so happened that she got that phone call while she was meeting with her caterer. And this caterer was a company that we had done lots of weddings with. And right off the bat, the caterer was like, call Forever Adored. Called Forever Adored. And it just so happened that we were able to work with the schedule and now become her beauty provider. So use these vendor events to not only, like I said, give you the opportunity to meet clients, but to network with businesses who kind of work in a similar field, if that makes sense. Other events that we have done really well at are just local community little pop-ups, ones that are only up for, well, actually just like Memorial Day. We did a pop-up. It was only a 4-hour event. It was outdoors, but it was on a big holiday weekend where a lot of people have time off and they've got their kids and they just want to get out of the house and get out and do something. And so it was a pretty decent turnout for this little Memorial Day pop-up. And we had a good number of people stop by the booth and say, oh gosh, yeah, I've been needing to change out my studs, or, oh, I've been wanting to get this re-pierced, or, oh, I've got this tattoo idea, but I don't have a tattoo artist. And we'll talk to our artist about the type of tattoo services they offer. And people are already out and about. Like I said, it's a very low pressure environment because you're just out there to have a good time and shop, window shop, if you will. And there's no pressure to actually schedule and book or buy anything. It's just an opportunity to meet and chat and make those connections in person. So if you have been on the fence about doing a vendor event or a pop-up, do it. Do it, do it, do it. I will give you some tips now on how to not only book a vendor event or pop-up event, but also just some key things on how to prepare and pack for one. Because let me tell you, these events take a lot of pre-planning and being organized and commitment to do. But trust me, they're so worth it. So let's say that you have found an event that you feel your business would do well in. It makes sense for you to be there. Couple of things you need to do a little research on before committing to this event. Number one, double, triple, quadruple, 10 times check your schedule and make sure that it's an event that you can commit to. One of my biggest pet peeves is doing these vendor events and having businesses next to me or across from me pack up and leave early. Things happen, life happens, you've got to pack up and go. But what tends to happen at a lot of these events, usually the smaller ones, is that it'll say, oh, this event is from 11 to 4. Well, usually around 3 o'clock, that last hour, the crowd really dies down. And sometimes businesses will see that and figure, might as well just pack up and go. It's dead. But what happens when a business packs up and does that is it then puts the signal out to the attendees who are still there that everyone's packing up and leaving and they should probably leave too. And that's going to affect your business. And guess what? You paid for that space for the full time. But now because your neighbors are packing up and leaving early and telling the shoppers, potential clients, that everyone's leaving, you now won't get anybody coming by your booth. Huge pet peeve of mine. So please make sure that you can commit to that full time of being there at the vendor space. Once you know that you can commit to the day and time, and you've double, triple, quadrupled, 10 times checked your calendar that you can, in fact, commit to the space, go ahead and ask about their reservation fee or their deposit. A lot of the times, especially for the bigger events, these booking fees or reservation fees or deposits are non-refundable. And that's because organizing these events take a lot of work. With the Cultivate Beauty Conference, I had to require a non-refundable reservation fee to hold your space, whether you showed up or not, because based off the numbers, I had to have certain type of insurance. I had to come up with a floor plan. I had to make sure I didn't have too many of a certain type of business there. And if I didn't take that reservation fee, planning everything else around those numbers was impossible. So understand that if there is a non-refundable fee, it's not because anyone's being greedy. It is because of the amount of planning that goes into organizing something of that scale with lots of different vendors involved, lots of moving parts going on. If the deposit or reservation fee is refundable, that's great. It's probably a smaller scale pop-up event, and there's nothing wrong with those at all. I had some of the best times at smaller local events. But it is definitely something to consider. Also be prepared for larger events to require a signed contract. And then again, smaller events don't tend to require a signed contract. It's more of a, here's our guidelines, hope that sounds okay to you. But the bigger events will require a signed contract. And those are also usually the ones where like your booking fee is not refundable. And they're going to have pretty clear guidelines on what is and isn't allowed. Setup times are important to know. Tear down times are important to know. A lot of these events will ask that you are done being set up by a certain time and that you don't start tearing down until a certain time. So you're going to want to make sure that all of that works for you. When you find one and you pay and you sign your contract, you're locked in. Now it's time to plan your space. How big is your space? Is it 10 by 10? The 12 by 12? Is it a 15 by 15? How many tables do you need for your space? What type of decor? Are you going to do any live demos? Are you going to have people to demo on? Is it just going to be retail product? How are you going to check people out? These are all things that go into planning your space. Big one is taking payments. Are you going to take cash payments? Are you going to do credit card, Apple Pay, Zelle? Like, what are your payment options going to be? And you're going to need to make all of that known to your customers and your clients when they come by the booth. Simple things that get overlooked all the time are chairs. Everyone always forgets chairs. and then they're sitting on ice chests or boxes or crates that they use to bring their stuff in. Table covers for your tables, or is it just a bare table? If you have table covers, at least you can like store stuff underneath. Your banner, a canopy. How big of a canopy are you allowed to have? Is there access to power so that you can charge your tablet and your phone? Do you need those things to schedule a person or to take payment? Trash bags. Most events will have trash reciprocals out, but are you going to leave your space to throw away garbage when you have garbage? Food, snacks, drinks. You got a plan for being out there all day? Indoors, outdoors, those necessities, office supplies get overlooked a lot. Scissors, pens, tape, safety pins. Sometimes the table covers hit the floor. You don't want people to trip, so you need a safety pin that. Which brings me to another important thing to know before you book a vendor space. Insurance. Most events are going to recommend that you have the proper insurance to work outside of your building. Some will even require proof of insurance. A lot of people, small business owners, don't realize that their business insurance only covers them when they're within their four walls, whether it's their suite, or their salon. It doesn't cover you if you are outside of your walls doing business. Type of insurance that I have covers me whether I'm in the building, I'm outside my building, I'm out of town. It comes with me wherever I go. If your business insurance does not cover you working outside of your location, there are companies that offer daily insurance coverage, special event insurance. And they offer it for like a day, 2 days, a week, short-term coverage for specifically these type of special events. I would highly recommend that if your business insurance doesn't cover you to work outside your location, that you have special event insurance. And this is because anything and everything is possible. And you want to be protected, especially for things like damage or theft to your property at your booth. Hopefully, nobody steals anything off of your display. Hopefully, nobody knocks over your laptop or your tablet or spills their drink and destroys your retail. We're going to all pray that that doesn't happen. But if it does, and you don't have insurance, then it's a complete loss. So highly recommend that you look into special event insurance if your business insurance doesn't already cover that. We're going to do a whole nother video about business insurance because that can be a tricky thing to navigate in the beginning. I know it was for me, and I know it's been tricky for a lot of my fellow independent artists out there. So we'll be covering that and help you guys out a little bit there too. You've got your insurance, you've got your chairs, you've got your tablecloths. You know how many tables you need for your space. You know if you need a canopy. Another thing that gets overlooked is if this is an evening event, where is your light source coming from? Is the event well lit, or do you need to have lights in your space to keep your space from total darkness? These are things that I have learned the hard way. So please, if I can save you from experiencing these silly little nuisances, that's what I'm here for. Lights. The easiest thing to do if you're outdoor and you're going to be outside when it gets dark is to have string lights along the top of your canopy, as long as a canopy is allowed. And then you can do cute little aimless candles for your table to kind of help the tabletops lit. It's a really cute way to keep things lit, but it also creates a really cute little ambiance for your space. So there's a little free tip thrown in there for lighting. If there is no power source, however, then you're going to have to look into some type of like generator or battery packs to help illuminate. Battery packs are another thing though that you're going to want to have regardless for your phone, for your tablet, music that you might want to have playing in your space, and to kind of keep things. That's something that gets overlooked all the time too, is having that power to your basic electronic. I think that maybe my most favorite part about doing a pop-up event is, besides getting to meet people in person and get to share my passion for what I do, it's that it's a fun way to get your friends and family involved in your business. A lot of the times, as a self employed person, you spend it alone planning things. And whether it's like studying and taking classes, if you're actually in your studio cleaning and making sure you're up to state board standards, whether it's one on one with your clients, you're away from home a lot, especially when you're starting out and you are working 7 days a week. One of my favorite parts of doing these pop-ups is that my husband and my kids, my sister, my parents have been involved, my cousin's been involved, my best friends have come and helped me at these events. And it's a fun way to just get them involved in something that I love doing so much. And they get to see firsthand just how much it all means to me and how much thought I put into all of it. And they get a little taste of what I spend so much of my time doing. That's probably my most favorite part of doing these events, aside from, of course, getting to meet people face to face and share my passion. If you have ever done a vendor event or have considered doing a vendor event, I would love to hear about it. Share your tips, share your questions, share your experience, whether it's on the Instagram page, or the YouTube page, or here on the Spotify. And it'll hopefully help others to get excited and want to try it out too. Again, it is so much fun. There's a lot that goes into it, but I personally believe the payoff of getting out into your community and getting one-on-one with potential clients is huge. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, we'll see you in the next episode.